In today's video, I'm going to show you how I tint my own eyelashes. I actually have a video showing you how I tint my own lashes, but several of you have asked me to please make an updated video, and I don't blame you because the video I just talked about is a tad old. But before I get started, I have to give you my usual disclaimer. While I have personally either gotten my lashes tinted professionally or tinted them myself for the past 40 years, I'm not a medical professional nor an esthetician. There are definitely risks involved with lash tinting. So if you're thinking of tinting your own lashes or even getting them tinted by a professional, please do your own research. With that said, I have everything I'm going to need right in front of me. I have my tint, of course. In fact, I just purchased a brand new one off of Amazon. This is called Reflectocell, and I have zero affiliation with Reflectocell nor Amazon, but this is the tint I have used for the past 15 years to tint my lashes. And even when I had my lashes tinted professionally, this is what was being used. This is from Austria. It is not FDA approved, in case that's important to you. I have just pure black. I believe it also comes in blue, black, brown, maybe some other colors. The only color I have ever used is the pure black. I also have some developer fluid from the same brand. I have a little glass to mix both of these up, a tool to mix it up, some Vaseline, a little brush to apply the Vaseline, and then I have some brand new silicone pads, which I have never used before. Like I said, they are brand new. They are from the, it's not wanting to focus, they are from the same brand as the tint is. I hope they will work well. We will find out. But in the past, before I had these, I either used these anti-stain pads, which since I have been using the Revive Lash and Brow Serum on my lashes, while my lashes have not necessarily gotten too long for these, I do, as you will see in a moment, use quite a bit of product. And so now, because my lashes are longer and denser, I keep staining the skin under my eyes when using these. So these don't work anymore. I've also used just under eye pads, but they don't work too well either because they are usually quite slippery because they have fluid on them. And once I apply the color, they slip all over the place. So fingers crossed, and these will actually work. So I'm going to take this out of here. Now on the Reflectocell site, they do have instructions on how to mix this correctly. I have actually never looked at the instructions. I have done this for so long that I have sort of developed an eye for it. But what I will usually do is I will use about, or squeeze out about maybe 2 inches of the tint. And then I use, and I don't even count them, but like I said, they do have instructions on their website. I can link them below if you want. But I just sort of eyeball it. I just put enough developer fluid in here to get a nice consistency. And I mix it up until I get to the consistency I desire. And usually what that looks like is sort of a foamy, I don't know if you can see, sort of a foamy consistency. Now I did briefly glance at the instructions on the site before making this video. I do believe they said 15 drops, but they also said to mix this up for one eye first, apply it to one eye, and then mix it up for the other eye, which I never do. I just mix it up for both eyes at the same time. Okay, so I have this mixed up. I'm actually going to get my hair out of the way so I don't tint that accidentally. Give me just a second. Now in the past, when I used these anti-stain pads, I applied Vaseline under my eyes as well as just above the lash line. However, in the instructions for these, it doesn't say anything about applying Vaseline. It just says to apply the shiny, let me get these off, the shiny side to the skin. I have a mirror right here. I'm going to make sure I get these really close to my lash line, and let's hope they stick. Here we go. Now I have tried all kinds of different ways to apply the tint. I have tried with a spoolie, which didn't work for me at all. So I usually just use the little tool I use to mix it up, and then I apply just a bit. Let me actually give you a look of my lashes real fast before I tint them. So I have naturally pretty dark lashes, but you can see they have some blonde or even gray, unfortunately, roots at this point, and I have a few grays in between as well. So what I do is I take this, like I said, this little tool I use to mix up the paint, and apply a somewhat generous amount to my bottom lashes first, and then I close my eye and apply a quite generous amount. And this is a trick my friend Lauren taught me, who used to tint my lashes when I lived in Monterey. A quite generous amount of the mixture here to my lashes. And with all the talking, I completely forgot to apply some Vaseline to my, or just above the lash line. I'm going to do this really fast actually, so that I don't get too much staining going on. I want to, of course, make sure that I don't get the Vaseline onto my lashes, because that would then not allow the tint to take. So I'm just going above the lash line, just so I don't tint my whole lid. That is usually something I do before applying the tint, but these new pads threw me off a little bit. So like I said, I take a generous amount, and of course trying to keep my eye closed, which is a little challenging sometimes when your other eye is open. And usually, of course, I don't talk or film myself when I do this, so it's a lot easier. It's always a bit more challenging to do something in front of a camera. But I take a generous amount. I try to get all the way to the lash line so that I cover those blondish and grayish roots. And then I spread the tint all the way down. And the reason I want to apply a generous amount is so that the tint seeps through to the inside of my lashes, obviously, but also to the bottom lashes. Even though I did cover them a bit, now we're covering them even more. And I want to make sure, obviously, to go all the way from the lash line to the tips of the lashes. It's harder to see because this pad is black. On a white pad, it's obviously much easier to see how much of the tint mixture you applied, but I think I'm doing a pretty good job here. All right, so now I'm going to set my timer for 10 minutes, and then I will rinse this off. All right, 10 minutes are up. I feel so funny talking to you like this. All I can see is just this little black patch here. I look like a pirate. But one thing I forgot, if I stressed how important it is, obviously, to keep the eye closed, because you don't want any tint to go into your eye. Now, usually when I do this off camera, I will apply the tint and then lay down and just relax and close both of my eyes. But my 10 minutes are up. So what I'm going to do now is take this little tool again and just push the excess tint off my lashes. And then I'm going to run to the bathroom, take a gauze pad, and just rinse this off. I'll be right back. Here we go. Now, these things I'm quite impressed by. They work really well. I've already washed this one off. It says to just wash it with a bit of soap and water and then let it air dry. And then you can reuse it. In fact, it says on here that they are good for 100 lash tints. So they will last me for about 20 years because I tint my lashes every 2 or 3 months. Now, to rinse the tint off, I just use a couple of these. I run them under cold water and I sort of tilt my head under the sink and just keep rinsing until everything comes out clear. All right, let's do the same thing on the other side. I will do it off camera just to not bore you, but this time I will apply the Vaseline to my lash line, or just above the lash line first, and then again the sticky side goes onto the skin. Like I said, I'm really impressed by these. They stick well. I have zero staining, so definitely a good buy, and again, they'll last me for 20 years. Alright, my 10 minutes are up on this side as well. I made sure to keep my eye closed the whole time, and now I'm again just swiping off the extra tint, and I'm going to go rinse in the bathroom. And here's the final result. Now they are quite black right now, but some of that is going to fade over the next few days. And then the tint itself slowly fades, and of course lashes also grow out. But I would say it lasts for about 6 or 7 weeks. However, I don't retint until at least 8 weeks. I usually note it in my calendar and make sure I don't retint until at least 8 weeks are up. Sometimes I wait a bit longer, though I've never had any problems as far as breaking lashes or losing lashes, but I just want to be on the safe side. So I hope this video was helpful. It's quite easy to tint your own lashes, but again, if you're thinking of doing so, please do your own research. I would love to know, do you tint your own lashes? Do you get them tinted professionally? Let us know down below. Any other questions or comments, of course, please leave them down below. Always love to hear from you. Thank you so much for being here. Until next time, bye.